And when you follow Jesus, I just want you to know, you will get your feet dirty because he's always walking in places that are messy. It's why he came. It's why he died, and it's what he will be doing until the next major stage of eternity that I don't really know much about. But in this stage of eternity, for right now, what we know is that Jesus is changing the world. And he's inviting people like me and you to follow him and to get involved and to give of ourselves and to sacrifice and to get our feet dirty and to do it. And a lot of people are doing it. In fact, you could just look around and see there are many people who are actively following Jesus. Not just, I go to church, I don't cuss very much, I read the Bible occasionally, and I don't cheat on my taxes often. You know, I'm not saying that. That's going to the club, and that's good. But beyond going to the club is my life belongs to Jesus. I do what he wants. I go where he desires, and I accomplish the tasks he gives me. That's a dirty foot person. And that's what I hope that each of us can become. I was outside working this week, and this series is really just something coming from in here. I was outside working this week, and I was dealing with a lot of emotions. Now, I'm weird, okay? And I have a way overactive imagination. Like occasionally, Stephanie will look outside, and I'm in the yard, and I've got a stick, and in my head, I am fighting Darth Vader. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoo, whoo. The imagination goes nuts, okay? And I could say it was for the benefit of my children, but they're not even out there. I'm just having a good time, okay? That's just, so in that sense, I have an overactive imagination. But the good side of that is I live far from where any of you could ever see me acting goofy. And secondly, God helps me to see some things more clearly sometimes when I'm letting my imagination run wild. And I was actually thinking about something heavier than that. I was actually thinking about somebody that I love very much, but I'm very disappointed in them, just very frustrated with them. And our friendship's kind of tense right now because of that, And I was wondering and thinking about and trying to figure out, why is that true? Why am I being so hard on them in this particular choice in their life? And I realized something about myself, okay? So right now I'm just talking about myself. I realized that I think when you're a dirty foot person, okay, and I am sometimes, I wouldn't say that I always am. I find myself in moments where I enjoy cleaning off my feet more than I do getting them dirty, and that's wrong and ungodly. But when I am walking with Jesus and when I am following him, here's what happens in my life. I began to realize why I'm doing things. Because you can do all the right stuff on the outside, but if you're not doing it with the right drive and for the right reason, then there's a lot of problems. So I'm just going to take you through my life, the 3 ways in which I think I'm motivated, okay? One is this. I think some of us, a lot of us, we are driven to do good deeds, to do good works, to show our love, because at the heart of it, we love ourselves on the inside. And here's what, this is a dark Christian secret, okay? But this is the reality for a lot of people. They do nice things because they love it when you brag on them for doing nice things, because ultimately, down deep inside, they love themselves. And I'm not pointing the finger like it's a great big thing. I'm saying that's sometimes me, that's sometimes you, that's sometimes all of us. This is a reality we have to face, okay? If you are motivated to love others because ultimately you love yourself and you love the way it makes you feel when you love others and you love the way it makes people feel about you when they see you doing nice things, then at the core of what's going on, you're doing nice things, but you're not a dirty foot person. Because Jesus says, if we do things for our own gain and benefit, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, whatever that is, that ultimately, here's what he says. He says, you get the reward you get, and that's all the reward you ever get. In other words, Jesus isn't going, good job, okay? Because he knows that we've already gotten the good job from everybody else. We really don't need it from him. I'm just telling you, watch this in your life. Don't become someone who does good things and shows the love of Christ and walks through the dirt because you love it when people look at you and go, man, your feet are dirty. Good for you. Good for you. You know? That's a real problem we have to deal with. The second thing that I think happens a lot of times is that people are driven to do good deeds and nice things and be kind and different things. People are driven because they love people. Now, that sounds great, doesn't it? That sounds very nice. And it's a very nice motivation, and I hate to tell anybody not to love people, but we'll get there in a second. Here's the problem, though. When someone tries to do the behavior and the actions of loving Jesus or of following Jesus because they love people, here's the problem. Over time, people will become unlovable. I'm just telling you, if you've served in a way that has put you face to face with people in great need, you will see them take a gift from you and spit on it. You will see people, we are so depraved. This is that messed up part that Jesus loves us through. We are so depraved and distant. You will give them something as a gift and they will sell it because they didn't want it and they wanted it themselves. You will serve of yourself and they will not say thank you. You will do all of these things and it will come back to bite you in the behind. I'm telling you, this will happen. And so if you are getting your feet dirty because you just like people and you want to do nice things for people, there will come a time, most likely, in your life when you say, I'm done. They don't deserve it, and I'm done. This is something you have to realize, and we should all be intimidated by this reality. We are not God. Now you're thinking, what in the world does that have to do with anything? Here's what I'm saying. In that moment, when you say, I'm going to behave this way because I just love them, you think that your love for them is big enough and bold enough and tough enough that you can keep going and keep loving them no matter how badly they treat you and no matter how badly they handle the gift you give them. And I'm telling you, your love is not that great. You are a follower of Jesus, not Jesus. Jesus could love through that sin, but I don't know that we can. And so I know so many people. The person I'm frustrated with right now that I was thinking about in my yard while I was fighting Darth Vader, that person, this is a person who loves people, but people have done them wrong so many times that they've thrown their hands in the air and they've said, I'm done, I'm not helping anymore. The third reason why people get their feet dirty, the third reason why people help people and love people is that they love God. Here's the difference. People who are motivated by loving God then go do what God said do. Those people are coming from a much more healthy and stable and true and good place. Here's what I'm saying. If I love God and God tells me to love you and then I go love you because I love God, then when you do something unlovable, I don't stop loving you because I love God and God told me to love you. See the difference? All of a sudden, I'm not getting my feet dirty so that you go, Brad, you have dirty feet. No, I love God. God told me to get my feet dirty. I don't care what I'm not doing this to make you feel good about me. I love God, you know. Or when I love God and God told me to go feed the hungry and then I go feed the hungry and the hungry say they don't like the food I gave them or the hungry don't handle it well or the hungry have a bad attitude or whatever, I don't go, well, then get it yourself. You know, I don't do that because I love God and God told me to love them. Doesn't matter how they respond. I love God. See the difference? This whole series, Dirty Feet People, is about doing the things God tells you to do, and those things will get your feet dirty. It's about serving. But I just want to start with this thing because if you're serving because it makes you look good, it won't last long, and it won't get you any eternal significance at all. And if you're serving just because you like people and you'd like to serve, then I'm telling you, there'll come a time when you throw your hands in the air and you give up because people are a pain in the butt to serve. They are. Those of you who are laughing, you know what I'm talking about, okay? I've been around pastors who smile, and every time you ask them how it's going, they're always like chipper, you know? It's awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm like, you lie. You lie. It is not always awesome, great, and chipper. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt, but Jesus is always awesome. So sometimes people go, Brad, how are you doing? And I'm like, well, the people around me are a pain in the butt, but Jesus is awesome. I love him, you know, love him. And so we have to be motivated by our love for God and this connection. Christianity, as I said earlier, it's not just a change of direction, it's a change of connection. You want to connect to Jesus, you got to love him. He loves you, obviously. And in the process of all that, then you can serve from an extremely good and healthy place. And you will get your feet dirty in a great way. Not because you went after the task, but because you went after the Savior who was walking through the task. And in order to go through the task, you had to follow him. Make sense? Here's what I'm getting.